Welcome back everyone. In today's session, I'm going to discuss 10 very important reference to the context questions and answers. These are workbook solutions. Morningstar workbook questions and answers. Where does this conversation take place? Setting of each and every scene is important. And whenever you have multiple questions packed in one, whenever there are subparts, always change paragraphs. Where does this conversation take place? Setting of Act 3, Scene 1. This conversation takes place in Rome in front of the Capitol. A brief answer, to the point answer. Why did Caesar tell the soothsayer the ides of March are come? Julius Caesar tells the soothsayer the ides of March are come to mock the letter. So this is the specific purpose. Taunt करने के लिए, mock करने के लिए, ridicule करने के लिए soothsayer को, implying that nothing has happened to him. Julius Caesar को कुछ नहीं हुआ है, वो ठीक है, वो safe secure है. Earlier, the soothsayer had warned him to beware the ides of March. Here, Caesar's arrogance and overconfidence are evident. He is proving how baseless the soothsayer's fears and warnings are. So we have the arrogance of Caesar, we have his overconfidence, and he is proving how baseless the soothsayer's fears and warnings are. These are the key words and expressions over here. So I have written all the points. You may shorten this answer according to your requirement. And one of our subscribers had requested me to update the style of writing these questions and answers. Dear subscriber, I have done that. When had he met the soothsayer before? Caesar had met the soothsayer in Act 1, Scene 2 when he was on his way to the games on the feast of Lupercal, celebrated annually on 15 February. So this is the first answer. Who is Artemidorus? Whom does he represent in the play? कौन है? Artemidorus is a minor character. Critical comment. He is a Roman citizen and a loyal friend of Julius Caesar. He is a teacher of rhetoric who becomes aware of the plot to assassinate Caesar. Whom does he represent in the play? He represents honest common citizen of Rome. He himself says that he is Caesar's lover, that is his well-wisher. Thus he represents Caesar's well-wishers who love and admire him and want to protect him. Important question है ये. What is the importance of his schedule? जो document है, जो petition है. Artemidorus' schedule is important as it touches Caesar nearer. So I have quoted from the text, the key expression from the text directly. Important as it touches Caesar nearer. Point number 1, it affects Caesar's personal interests. It is a warning note. Number 2, addressed to Caesar, containing. Number 3, containing the names of the conspirators. We have seen that while reading the text. Containing the names of the conspirators who have hatched a conspiracy against Caesar. It states clearly, the next point, number 4, it states clearly that Caesar must keep good watch for security gives way to conspiracy. Very important. This is the importance of the schedule. मैंने यहाँ पे 4 points use करके इस आंसर को frame किया है. Why does Artemidorus request Caesar to read his schedule first? Artemidorus requests Caesar to read his schedule first because his suit touches Caesar nearer. If Caesar reads it, he may live and will be able to protect himself from the traitors. Again, direct quotation from the text, textual quotations. Next, with reference to a previous scene, show how Artemidorus' fears are justified. developments in Act 2 Scene 1, previous scene यहाँ पे. But in your class 10 syllabus, you have Acts 3, 4 and 5. I don't think such generic questions are going to come, but still they are there in the workbook. So I have written the answers. Developments in Act 2 Scene 1 which take place in Brutus's orchard indicate that Artemidorus' fears are justified. There we see the conspirators gathered in the night time under the leadership of Brutus and Cassius. They finalize the assassination of Caesar on the Ides of March. इसीलिए Artemidorus इतना डरा हुआ था and his fears are justified. Next, mention two reasons. हमें दो reasons लिखना है. Mention two reasons given by Caesar for not reading the schedule handed over by Artemidorus. First reason क्या है? Caesar refuses to read the schedule handed over by Artemidorus. Firstly, first reason Caesar states, textual quotation, what touches us ourselves shall be last served. Secondly, he ignores Artemidorus and calls him mad because there is urgency in Artemidorus's words. Artemidorus इतना Caesar को press क्यों कर रहा है? Caesar neglect करते हैं, ignore करते हैं and calls him mad. और एक third reason भी है, choose any two and write them down. यहाँ पे मैंने सिर्फ दो डिस्कस किया है. थर्ड रीजन क्या है? थर्ड रीजन जो है, सीजर ने कहा ही इज नॉट गोइंग टू रीड द पिटिशन इन द स्ट्रीट. वो स्ट्रीट में ये पढ़ने नहीं वाले हैं. ही टेल्स हिम टू कम टू द कैपिटल. सो यू कैन राइट दिस ऑल्सो इन योर आंसर. तीनों पॉइंट से दो पॉइंट उठा के लिख देना. Understood? Which trait of his personality is revealed by his act? Feature क्या है character का? Caesar is overconfident and repeatedly commits the blunder of turning a deaf ear to the warnings. So this results from his overconfidence and his vanity. I am constant, I am immortal. ऐसा एक एटीट्यूड है सीजर का. एंड दिस इज गोइंग टू बी हिज द रीजन, वन ऑफ द रीजंस फॉर हिज डाउनफॉल. नेम टू पीपल इन द सीन हु आर ट्राइंग टू वार्न सीजर. नेम टू पीपल. Two people who are trying to warn Caesar are Artemidorus and the soothsayer. Just two names. Discuss नहीं करना है डिटेल में. Name two other people who defeat their efforts to do so. Two other people who defeat their efforts are Decius Brutus, Publius, Metellus Cimber. सारे जो conspirators हैं वहाँ से any two names. Which theme of the play is highlighted here? Explain it briefly. The role of fate is highlighted over here. Caesar does little to avert his fate by ignoring the warnings. बार बार उन्हें वार्निंग्स मिल रहा था, मगर सीजर ने क्या किया? वार्निंग्स को पूरी तरीके से इग्नोर कर दिया, नेग्लेक्ट कर दिया. एंड दिस इज द रोल ऑफ फेट. द कॉन्स्पिरेटर्स आर एबल टू मैनिपुलेट सीजर. दे शोज लिमिट्स ऑफ ह्यूमन अंडरस्टैंडिंग. हियर सीजर्स मिसरीडिंग and misinterpretation. So we have fate and we have limits of human understanding highlighted over here. Again, we have the second extract. If this be known, what does this refer to? If it be known what could happen, this क्या है? The word this refers to the conspiracy hatched against Julius Caesar. The conspirators plotted to assassinate Caesar on the Ides of March. A simple, brief answer. After this, if it be known, तो क्या होगा? If this plot is found out, it will be foiled. Either Cassius or Caesar never shall turn back. Cassius will slay himself. Cassius will kill himself. Again, textual quotation to write the answers, keywords and expressions. Which duty is assigned to Casca? Why should he be sudden? Casca will be the first to raise his hand and strike, that is, attack or stab Caesar. This is the duty assigned to him. And why should he be sudden? Sudden का क्या मतलब है? Quick. According to Cassius, Casca must do it quickly. क्यों? Must do it quickly, for they fear prevention. Again, textual quotation. Dear subscriber, I am sure that I have listened to you and I have updated my style of framing the answers. Question 3. What has Popilius Lina said and done which makes Cassius to fear? Popilius Lina wished that day, that is the Ides of March, the enterprise of the conspirators might thrive. Important. This has made Cassius worried. क्यों लेना ने ये कहा? Enterprise might thrive. Thrive का क्या मतलब है? Might be successful. Enterprise क्या है? What did they think that Lena was saying? Cassius fears that their plot to assassinate Caesar has become known to Lena. And how does Brutus show them that there is nothing to fear? Brutus observes Popilius. The latter is not speaking to Caesar about their enterprise. Q. He smiles, and Caesar doth not change. No facial expression, no change in facial expression. So there is nothing to fear. This is an important question, and in this way, write brief, compact answers. तो मैंने brief answers ही लिखा है, dear students. So don't worry. What was the task assigned to Trebonius? What petition did Metellus Cimber present to Caesar? And in what way did he flatter Caesar? Trebonius का क्या task था? Trebonius was assigned the task of taking Mark Antony out of the way, so that Caesar was left alone unguarded. So this was his specific task. What petition did Metellus Cimber present to Caesar? Metellus Cimber pleaded for his banished brother's amnesty. And what is the meaning of amnesty? See, it's there on the screen. Go through it, a new word. He presented a petition for the repealing, quotation, of the sentence of banishment passed on Publius Cimber. So Caesar insists on his continued exile, and the conspirators want Caesar to bring him back. In what way did he flatter Caesar? He flatters Caesar by addressing the latter as most high, most mighty, most puissant Caesar. Textual quotation. He declares that he throws before Caesar's seat his humble heart. He kneels down before Julius Caesar and begs for mercy. His humble heart here, he kneels before Caesar. Give two of the arguments given by Caesar. Two, हमें दो लिखना है, to reject the petition made by Metellus. Caesar asserts that unlike ordinary men, he does not bear such rebel blood that will be thawed from the true quality by low crooked courtesies and base spaniel fawning. Again, textual quotation, keywords and expressions. Second reason क्या है? Moreover, Publius Cimber by decree is banished. So he would not cancel it, as he is as constant as the northern star. These are the two reasons. And which trait of Caesar's character is highlighted? His vanity, arrogance and overconfidence. उन्हें लगता है वो immortal है, constant है, immovable है, unassailable है, मगर जल्द ही he is going to be attacked and killed. He is going to be a mortal person, just like us, just like ordinary Roman citizens. Extract 3 में क्या है? The extract is there on the screen. What is the northern star? The northern star is the pole star. the word resting means permanent. देखो next है क्या question है. हाँ, give the meaning of whose true fixed and resting quality there is no fellow in the firmament. So read a good paraphrase and write your answers. The word resting means permanent. Firmament का क्या मतलब है? Heaven or sky. No fellow का मतलब nothing like it. The word meanings and then the explanation. The sky has countless stars. They are all bright and every one of them shines, but only the pole star remains fixed in its place. It has no equal in its immovable and permanent nature. Bas, finished. This is how you must write your answers. Next question, why does Caesar compare himself to the northern star? What is the occasion for such a comparison? Let's read. Comparing himself to the North Star, Caesar boastful nature of his constancy, his commitment to the law, and his refusal to waver under any persuasion. कोई मुझे हिला नहीं सकता है. And therefore, he has made this comparison. And what is the occasion? The conspirators have come to Caesar at the Senate house pleading for amnesty for Metellus Cimber's banished brother Publius Cimber. This is the occasion. Caesar uses this comparison while rejecting Cassius's plea. Cassius समझा रहा था Caesar को, Brutus भी समझा रहे थे. सारे जो conspirators है, they were trying to explain to Julius Caesar to repeal the order of exile. State the comparison made by Caesar between the firmament and the world of men. The sky has countless stars. They are all bright and every one of them shines, but only one of them remains fixed in its place. हमने ये लिखा है. And it is similar, कैसे, in the world too. The world is well supplied with men, and men are alive and possess thinking power, rationality of human beings. However, among all of them, there is only one man, namely Caesar himself, who remains unassailable, just like the pole star. Next, why is Caesar so stubborn in his attitude towards the conspirators? Caesar asserts his firmness of purpose in most emphatic and impressive manner. वो समझाना चाहता है, मैं कितना महान हूँ, मैं तुम जैसे ऑर्डिनरी इंसानों के जैसे मैं नहीं हूँ. To boast of his constancy, he is so stubborn in his attitude towards the conspirators. He is arrogant. And what purpose does his stubbornness serve? On the dramatic effectiveness. As it comes, क्या होने वाला है? Mere moments before the assassination. So this speech, this comparison comes mere moments before the assassination. Caesar's speech adds much irony, important to the scene. Ironical क्यों है? Having just boasted that he is unassailable, Caesar is shortly killed. Ironically, he claims permanence, immortality even. The assassins quickly prove Caesar mortal by killing him. So, vanity of Julius Caesar gets exposed. What horrible event is about to take place in a short time? Caesar is going to be assassinated in a short time. Who was the first to strike? Casca was the first to strike. Why is Antony absent from the scene? Trebonius draws Antony away from there, out of the way. इसीलिए he is absent from the scene. What could have happened if Antony were to be present on the scene? If Antony were to be present on the scene, he could have perhaps protected Caesar from the conspirators. In this way, write to the point brief answers. When does this conversation take place? This conversation takes place immediately after the assassination of Julius Caesar, when Trebonius comes in to report that Antony has fled to his house amazed. Men, wives and children stare, cry out and run as it were doomsday. जब Trebonius ने ये कहा था, then this conversation takes place. In what state of mind are Brutus and Cassius? Brutus and Cassius are nervous, afraid of how the Romans will react to the murder of Caesar. Their own lives are in danger. Brutus is philosophical while Cassius has a rationalistic approach towards the situation. उन्हें पता नहीं है कैसे जो Roman multitude है react करने वाले हैं. In this way, they are nervous, a bit afraid of what the reaction will be. What is meant by the fates? The fates. Clotho, Lachesis and Atropos were divinities in Greek mythology. Learn this allusion. Who presided over human life. Together, the fates represented the inescapable destiny of humanity. This is important, the mythological reference. State in your own words what fates were responsible for. These three sisters were responsible for the span of a person's life and his allotment of misery and suffering. कितना सफर करने वाला है एक person, एक individual, और कितने साल वो जिएगा, कौन ये decide करता था? Fates, the three sisters. According to the extract, what do men know and what do they fear? Men know that they will die. But what they fear is the time when they will die and how long they can prolong, drawing days out their lives. Everything is there in the text. So just write according to the question. What positive note does Casca strike in the death of Caesar? According to Casca, he who dies 20 years early is saved of 20 years of living. And what does Brutus feel about it? Let's read quickly. So 1 minute. 20 years of living in constant fear of death. 20 years पहले अगर कोई मर जाता है तो 20 years more tension में नहीं वो ये जीवन काटने वाला है. So this is the positive note which Casca strikes. And Brutus's opinion, if they grant that, then death is a benefit. This is what Brutus feels. The conspirators are thus Caesar's friends as they have abridged Caesar's time of fearing death. Caesar को मार के उन्होंने Caesar को free कर दिया है. Caesar को अब डर डर के जीना नहीं पड़ेगा. In this way, the conspirators are his friends. After the extract, what does Brutus ask the Romans to do? Brutus asks the Romans to stoop, and they must bathe their hands in Caesar's blood up to the elbows and besmear their swords. Then they must walk forth even to the marketplace, and waving their red weapons over their heads, they must all cry, peace, freedom and liberty. In what way does this seem to be a fulfillment of Calphurnia's dream? This definitely seems to be a fulfillment of Calphurnia's dream, or wo kaise, in the sense that she had seen in her dream pure blood flowing out of Caesar's statue as from a fountain with 100 spouts. Many lusty Romans then came smiling and did bathe their hands in it. In this way, fears of Calphurnia turn out to be true. So this is a lengthy answer, but you will have to mention each and every point over here. एक ही क्वेश्चन शायद आएगा एग्जाम में. यहाँ पे 2-3 सब पार्ट से, इसीलिए क्वेश्चंस जो है वो लेंदी हो गया है. Next, state briefly the role played by the assassination of Caesar in the storyline of Julius Caesar. A brief analysis. Caesar's assassination is just the halfway point of Julius Caesar. The first part leads to his death. The second portrays the consequences. Antony uses a funeral speech to turn the citizens of Rome against the conspirators. Brutus and Cassius escape as Antony joins forces with Octavius Caesar. The play ends with the defeat of Brutus's army. Cassius dies. Brutus commits suicide. Very briefly, I have written this answer. Extract 5. When Cassius says, stoop then and wash, to whom is he speaking? Cassius says, stoop then and wash to the conspirators who have assassinated Julius Caesar. He speaks to Brutus as well. What exactly does he mean? He asks the conspirators to kneel and bathe their hands and swords in Caesar's blood. Who had just suggested washing? Brutus had just suggested the Romans washing their hands in Caesar's blood up to the elbow. Next, explain the meaning of states unborn, accents and Pompey's basis. Word meanings, annotations, important है इसीलिए. The meaning of states unborn means states not yet founded. Accents का क्या मतलब है? Language. Pompey's basis का क्या मतलब है? The pedestal of Pompey's statue. These are the word meanings and then the explanation. Very briefly, according to Cassius, the lofty scene, assassination of Caesar, will be acted over in states not yet founded and languages which are as yet unknown. So, this is the explanation. What does Brutus want to express when he says, how many times shall Caesar bleed in sport? Brutus wonders how many times Caesar is going to shed blood, be killed for entertainment. Caesar's assassination is going to be dramatized. Caesar, lifeless and gory, is now lying, stretched along the base of Pompey's statue, valueless like dust. What does Cassius believe the not of us will be called and why? Not of us, matlab, Cassius believes that in future the not of us, the conspirators, will be called the men that gave their country liberty. Quotation. They will be called to kill ambitious men like Caesar to make one's country free from dictators. Cassius's words show that the conspirators conceive of their act as noble and having great historical significance. Salo sal. They are going to be remembered for this noble deed. The entry of the servant of Antony may be said to mark the turning point of the whole play. Narrate very briefly in what way this is so. Very briefly. Antony's servant enters with a passionately worded appeal, saying that Antony will support Brutus if he is allowed to safely approach and be given a satisfactory explanation for Caesar's death. This is the turning point. So, you can just write till here and then you can continue from here if you want to shorten it further. This is the turning point as it prepares the audience for the counter action by Antony. Antony is able to manipulate Brutus even without being present. Later, Antony gets the opportunity at Caesar's funeral. So, these are the 3 points. So, from here till here, and then if you want you can write this. If you don't want, this is not needed that much. Okay, this is the most important point over here. So automatically the answer will become more brief. Extract 6 now. It's there on the screen. Quickly have a look. And the first question. Where does the mighty Caesar lie? The mighty Caesar lies down very low on the ground at the foot of Pompey's statue in the Senate House in Rome. It's Pompey's basis. You can quote this as well. And give one example, each of Caesar's conquest and his glories. The expression, okay, first we have what is meant by this little measure. This little measure means this small area of the ground on which Caesar's body lies. He is no worthier than the dust. After the death, Caesar's victories, trophies, conquest have shrunk to this little area covered by his corpse. And he is lying at the foot of Pompey's statue. An example of Caesar's conquest and his glories. An example of Caesar's conquest is the defeat of Narvi in 57 BC. This conquest is revealed by Antony during the funeral speech. An example of his glories is the glorious welcome given to Caesar on his triumphant return to Rome. Remember, Act 1, Scene 1? Yes. Who are the gentlemen he addresses? Antony uses the word gentleman sarcastically, sarcasm, ironically, to refer to the conspirators who have assassinated Julius Caesar. And you can write the names of them as well. Next, what does he implore them to do? Antony implores them to carry out their wishes by killing him if they have any grudge against him. अगर आप लोग चाहते हैं, अगर आप लोग मुझे नापसंद करते हैं तो आप लोग मुझे मार सकते हैं. They must do so while the hands are still dark red with the blood of Caesar. What does his request tell us about his character? His loyalty to Caesar is evident. He is grief-stricken, shocked, and uses his words to manipulate Brutus. Shrewdness, diplomacy of Antony. He has such an intense attachment to Caesar that he is prepared to die with him. It also shows his courage. This request is like a challenge to the conspirators, so a complex request. Give the meaning of who else must be let blood, who else's rank. What, in your opinion, is Antony's reason for saying so? The words who else must be let blood, who else's rank means that who else must be killed, who else is overgrown. The word rank means both overgrown, too powerful and full of disease. This was often supposed to be cured by letting blood. This is the word meaning. And then reason kya hai? Antony's reason for saying so seems to be that he knows very well the conspirators murdered Caesar out of jealousy. They would therefore try to get rid of those who were closest to Caesar, as they could pose a danger to the conspirators. Antony, being one of them, one of the most loyal followers of Caesar, would naturally be their next target. What does Antony's expression, the most noble blood of all this world, indicate about Antony's feelings for Caesar? The expression, the most noble blood of all this world, indicates Antony's great admiration for number 1, and his attachment number 2, and his loyalty to Julius Caesar number 3. He declares that Caesar was the greatest human being that ever lived in this world and suggests that his murder was the greatest crime. सिर्फ वो एक अच्छे इंसान नहीं थे, उनका जो ये murder हुआ, that was the greatest crime ever committed, and such a crime can never go unpunished. This implies Antony's resolve to make every one of the conspirators pay dearly, take revenge on them. What did Brutus tell Antony about the conspirators' feelings for Caesar? Was he honest, and why? 3 subparts, therefore 3 paragraphs. According to Brutus, the hearts of the conspirators are pitiful for Caesar, but his hearts are full of pity also for the people of Rome who had been greatly wronged by Caesar's tyranny. And Brutus is honest when he states his feelings towards Caesar. In Act 2, Scene 1, he admits that he does not know personal cause to spurn at him. Caesar has been assassinated for the general, for the welfare of the Roman people. He joined the conspirators not because he loved Caesar less, but that he loved Rome more. He confesses that just as one fire drives out fire, so pity does the conspirators assassinated Caesar. These were his reasons. What is meant by the word credit? Extract 7. Why does it now stand on such a slippery ground? The word credit means reputation and reliability. And Antony was faithful to Caesar, so after Caesar's assassination, the conspirators can hardly trust him. Their opinion about him at this time is unfavorable, and thus he is on a slippery ground. This is the answer. Next. What does Antony mean to say by the following words? Here, textual quotation. The conspirators have such an adverse opinion about Antony that they must be thinking of him in one of the following two ways. They think him either a coward or a flatterer. What effect do Antony's action and words have on his listener? Brutus is a weak link as far as the conspirators are concerned. Cassius is suspicious of Antony, does not believe him completely. He asks Brutus not to agree to allow Antony to speak at Caesar's funeral. The others would have killed him, but Brutus is unable to see through his shrewd diplomacy. ब्रूटस का रिएक्शन जो है, इफेक्ट जो है उनके ऊपर, वो दूसरे कंस्पिरेटर्स की तरह नहीं था. नेक्स्ट. What mistake did Brutus make by granting the request of Antony? What did Cassius warn him then? What was the consequence of the mistake? Brutus allowed Antony to speak at Caesar's funeral, hoping that Antony's words would justify the conspirators' actions in the eyes of the Roman people. He provided the opportunity to Antony to expose the villainy of the conspirators to the Roman. This is the mistake. What did Cassius warn him? Cassius warned Brutus not to consent by asking, "Know you how much the people may be moved by that which he will utter?" तुम नहीं जानते हो, इसीलिए एंटनी को अलाउ मत करना. Antony delivered. Consequence क्या हुआ finally? Such a moving speech full of masterful rhetoric that quickly turned the Roman people against the conspirators, leading to a riot and later war. It derailed the conspirators' cause and resulted in tragedy. The consequence. सारे जो points है वो essential है. How did Antony prove that he could be both a coward and a flatterer? Antony talked as if he were feeling utterly confused by the assassination of Caesar. उसे तो पता ही नहीं वो क्या कर रहा है, क्या करने वाला है. He pretended that he did not know what he must do under the circumstances. Instead of declaring revenge on the murderers, he came to make peace with them so that his life might be spared. In this way, he was a coward. ऐसा नाटक किया एंटनी ने, सब ने, स्पेशली ब्रूटस ने कुछ अपोज नहीं किया. However, he understood the nature and motives of the conspirators. His purpose was to throw them off their guard. He resorted to flattery. "Friends, I am with you all and love you all." So, flatterer. Coward, flatterer. Extract 8 में क्या है? Very quickly. Who speaks these words? "Here wast thou bade." What is the comparison implied in the expression? To what custom of the hunters does it refer? Mark Antony, a Roman general, speaks these words. "Here wast thou bade." What is the comparison? He compares the world to a forest, and Caesar is like a stag of this forest roaming about in this forest. The world is Caesar's kingdom. This is the comparison. In stag hunting, hounds chase the stag. The stag runs and after becoming tired, hopelessly stops and faces the hounds. This is called the stag is brought to bay. So this is the custom. Explain the double meaning. Pun intended in the expression brave heart. Here is a pun on the word heart. A brave heart means a brave stag, a male deer, and brave heart of Julius Caesar. I have discussed all these things in the easy explanation videos. So go through those videos for a better understanding. Who are the hunters in the present crisis? The hunters in the present crisis, assassination of Caesar, are the conspirators like, and you may name them. Give the meaning of signed in thy spoil and crimsoned in thy leath. The word signed in thy spoil and crimsoned in thy leath means each hunter, here conspirator, has put a mark on different parts of Caesar's body. इसका क्या मतलब है? Each one stabbed him to death and drenched one's hands with the blood of his dead body. Very important. In what way was the world the forest to this heart? The whole world was Caesar's kingdom. And this indeed, O world, the heart of thee. Julius Caesar was indeed the heart of the world, its center. Here Antony glorifies the supremacy and immense popularity of Caesar. Caesar, like a stag of the forest, roamed about there. Why does the speaker arouse Cassius's suspicion? Mark Antony arouses Cassius's suspicion because he praises Caesar in his speech. He begs Caesar, pardon me, Julius, for coming close in terms of friendship within thine enemies. However, he requests each man, conspirator, render me his bloody hand. एक तरफ दोस्ती का हाथ वो बढ़ा रहा था अपना, and दूसरी तरफ वो सीजर से माफी भी मांग रहा था. And we know Cassius was a shrewd man and immediately recognized this. Cassius asks, and here we have the shrewdness also of Cassius. What compact? क्या पूछा? Cassius asks, तुम यहाँ क्यों आए हो? What compact agreement does Antony want to have with them? He wants to know if Antony will be pricked in number of our friends, be considered as a friend, or whether they will continue their work without depending on him as a friend. हम तुम्हें विश्वास करें या ना करें? तुम चाहते क्या हो? बताओ हमें. Why is Caesar's spirit ranging for revenge? Caesar's spirit is ranging for revenge because the conspirators had conspired against him and assassinated him. When and to whom does Caesar's spirit appear later in the play? As Brutus reads in his tent after the meeting, he is visited by the ghost of Caesar who threatens to visit Brutus again at Philippi. Act 4 scene 3 में ये घटना घटी थी. Who is Ati? Ati is a Greek goddess of revenge and destruction, the daughter of Zeus. Why is her name used in the context and what is meant by confines? Another allusion. So learn the allusions properly. Caesar's spirit is so keen on avenging his murder that he will be accompanied by Ati to punish the assassins. He will come hot from hell and unleash his wrath, his anger, by causing havoc and destruction. The word confines means regions. With a monarch's voice, cry havoc. This indicates absolute and authoritative royal command for destruction. What does the expression foretell about things to come? The expression with a monarch's voice, cry havoc, foretells Antony's firm resolve to cause a civil war in Rome in order to avenge the murder of his friend and patron Julius Caesar. Domestic fear, fierce civil strife. There will be disorder, destruction, bloodshed in Rome. He will have no mercy for those who have betrayed their leader. Who are the dogs of war? The phrase dogs of war is a metaphor for the violence that Antony wants to be unleashed on Rome, specifically the conspirators who killed Julius Caesar. War is personified here. Dogs of war are the soldiers here. Destructive elements of war like famine, sword, fire. And then, which foul deed is referred? The brutal murder of Caesar is the foul deed which will smell above the earth with carrion men. And how will it smell? With carrion men groaning for burial. Textual reference. Your key expression. What would the consequences of these happenings be for the conspirators and as well as for Antony? Octavius Caesar will arrive soon. Already there is significant opposition to Brutus's coup and there is a possibility of a counter coup following Caesar's death. Antony wants to gain power for himself. He joins hands with Octavius and Lepidus to overthrow the Republicans. The final nail in the coffin for the conspirators was Antony reading Caesar's will. The consequence. Once you go through Acts 3, 4 and 5 completely, you will be able to understand this a lot better. The last extract, Finally, to whom is Antony speaking? Antony is speaking to a servant serving Octavius Caesar. Why is this person here? Julius Caesar wrote to Octavius Caesar to come to Rome. The latter received the former's letters and is on his way. Octavius Caesar has informed the servant to inform Antony about his arrival verbally. Thus he is here. And where are they? They are in Rome in the Senate house. Caesar's corpse lies on Pompey's basis. They are standing over there. What had Antony just said to this person before telling him to stay a while? How did this person help Antony? Let me just quickly change the page. The answer now. Here it is. Antony had just asked the servant to post back with speed and tell Octavius Caesar what had chanced. Here is a Rome in mourning, which is a dangerous Rome and not a safe Rome for Octavius yet. How did this person help Antony? Mark Antony and Octavius Caesar join forces once Octavius arrives in Rome following the death of Caesar. He is an ally, a friend of Antony after Caesar's death. Explain the meaning of oration. The word oration means speech. Antony utters an eulogy. The meaning is there on the screen. After Caesar's assassination in the marketplace. What does this passage reveal to us about what Antony proposed to do? Antony proposed to find out how the people take the cruel issue of these bloody men and also how the Romans look at the assassination. Reaction kya hai? Earlier Antony said, "Over thy wounds now do I prophesy." Mention any 3 points of his prophecy. Firstly, Antony prophesied, "A curse shall light upon the limbs of men." Quotation finished. Secondly, domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall burden all the parts of Italy. Finished. Thirdly, blood and destruction and dreadful objects will be so usual that mothers will only smile when they see their babies quartered with the hands of war. Third, and which trait of Antony's nature is shown in the passage? Antony's loyalty to Caesar and his statesmanship are revealed here. However, this time, as soon as Caesar is murdered, Antony does not hesitate to use Caesar's death to further his own ambitions of controlling Rome. So, ambitiousness of Antony is also evident. Give examples of 2 other occasions in the play where a different aspect of his character is shown, distinct from the one shown in this extract. Dear students, this is your homework. Find out 2 examples and then write them down in the comment section.